Well, good morning, fellow creators. It is Saturday, the 22nd of February, 7:21 a.m. Per usual, I want to talk about current projects, what I've got going on in the studio. Things have shifted a little bit project-wise since 2 weeks ago from the last vlog. The canvas that I sort of had prepped and somewhat started, if memory serves, I've kind of reworked and changed the idea on it a little bit, which I left upstairs. The original idea was this, oh, there you guys are. Excuse me, still early.
Where are you?
This lighthouse thing, which I was gonna do on a big tall canvas, but I've since reworked it on a sticky note to be sort of long and skinny. As soon as I had it sketched out and started like vertically, I was like, it's so distracting, just this big weird pillar. And I've done stuff like that before, so I want to avoid that, at least for this one. So going back to a more rectangular composition, in this case, orientation, there we go. I can have that lighthouse and then just kind of create that long, like a long, almost a bridge kind of thing to it. I still need to work the idea out a little bit more, but that's what I'm going to be going with for that project when I get to it. But I've got a couple other things more pressing, or well, one I finished. So my friend Cam, who has the Gallery Studio 4 here in Pittsburgh, some of you guys, if you've been watching a while, will remember Studio 4 as the place that I housed my Splatter Worlds exhibit 2-3 years ago now.
You're stupid!
Damn, it doesn't feel like it's been that long. So I saw on his Instagram he's doing a group show based on this little character of his called a Gobbo. And I was, oh man, this is coming up. I wish I knew this was coming up. I would have put a piece in. And he goes, hey, there's still time. And I'm like, okay, let's see what I can throw together in a weekend. So I made this. He has got a bunch of these little characters that he sculpted out of clay and put little plants in on the tops of their heads. And I used that as my inspiration for the Gobbo Terrarium. Fun little cute piece that I'm just sneaking into this show that opens next weekend. Wait, no. 2 weeks from now. So I still have plenty of time to get it there. And getting it there and lining up a time to do that is going to be the biggest challenge in the next 2 weeks. Now, also a couple weeks ago, I get to hang out with my friend Tiffany, who some of you guys remember from some previous art supply haul videos. We go down to the local Blix, or the most recent one was Artists and Craftsmen Supply. Together, we buy different things. We show off what do we got, and we sit around the studio and play a bunch. So we got to hang out again, and we started talking about doing another collaborative painting. We did one about 6 or 7 years ago. In terms of how well it did at the gallery, really well, because it sold. It had to sit there a year before it sold, but it was really cool. And actually, it's funny. I was talking to my aunt the other day, and she was like, "I saw this piece, and I've never seen this piece of yours before. Like, when did you do this?" Like, this was this collaboration from years ago because of the figure. And we've been talking for years about it, and it's like, okay, it's time to really start messing with another idea for a collaboration. And I want to do something big. The last one was already one of the largest paintings I'd ever done on canvas, at least at the time. And that was 3 foot square, close to 1 meter for my friends overseas. But this one's going to be even larger. Of the canvases I got for free, or at least the stretchers I got for free, I should say, back last summer, this was one of them. I can't remember how big this is, but it's something like 2 by 4 feet or something like that. Probably not exactly, but it's actually definitely bigger. It's probably 28 by 46 maybe, something like that. And I thought it'd be really fun to do something with sort of this raw, clear gessoed canvas. something that you can see the raw canvas underneath, and we just kind of like something like that. She's looking at a figure reference that's more vertical, which I think would be really fun to work with. Definitely would involve some serious use out of my A-frame easel. But yeah, I'm excited. I haven't done a ton of thinking on it. The most we've played with this idea is saying like statue or something carved into a wall kind of deal, something I can like drape some moss and different things over. But it's still really in the planning stages right now, and the planning stages of the planning stages. Additionally, I can't remember if I brought this up 2 weeks ago or not, but there was a show concept that I teased back in sometime in the fall called That Which We Hide. And it's my idea for a group show focusing on themes of trauma, mental health, and sexuality. And I floated that idea to some of the local art community, and there's been a pretty decent feedback on that. It's like people that are definitely really interested in it, as well as somebody who has connections to some local nonprofits that I think could be a good step forward. So I'm starting to kind of lay in some ideas for that as well, but that's also very far off. My initial thought was like, oh, like June's Pride Month, it would be fun to do like the show that features stuff like that in June, but that's way too soon to be planning something that I have very little idea of how it's going to look first. So 2026 June, or at the very earliest, I would say maybe like October, November. And finally, as my friend was here a couple weeks ago, I got this other piece started. So I had gotten the one started, the long skinny one, but I didn't like how it was turning out. Even with the initial layers, I'm like, I got to completely rethink this. So I did another sketch, and I started this, which I am loving right now. So this new piece is called Revenant Embers.
A man played the bear?
So the idea of a spark coming back to life when the whole of the piece is already kind of charred up a little bit. I'm doing something in this piece which I did in my painting. Again, I can't remember if I talked about this already or not. I apologize if I have, and this is repeat stuff in from old videos. But it's easy for me to forget. The Swampland Spirits painting from last fall. I had to have talked about this before, right?
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
I'm doing more. I started this with more of an underpainting, which I did for that piece, and I found that I really, really like. And I think for more of my work going forward, I want to start doing that more too. It's freeing up my mind a lot more and allowing me to find shapes where there weren't shapes in the initial sketch. Because the initial sketch for this is similar, but kind of different too. So this is the initial sketch. And still very much that flame in the center with the cross paths and everything like that. I'm still going to do this bridge up in the top. But this is more like, especially on the right side, it's more like a big cliff that kind of goes all the way up. The stuff I've done in my work previously. But this, even just working on it, I found all these little shelf and cliff faces coming in. This whole section in here and this lead up down here, that wasn't even in any idea with the sketch. And in my work previously, I've always like treated the sketch as like the definitive, it's going to look like this. And in doing so, I've lost a lot of the freedom that painting brings. So specifically for this one, and I think doing more of them like this, that I start a lot looser and refine it down, which is a very classic technique anyway. Just not for me. It's not something I use much, but I'm finding myself really enjoying the process a lot more than I have in the past couple of years, doing the more formulaic, rigid way that I approach a painting. So I'm kind of in an interesting crossroads right now of still creating essentially the same work, but the build up to how I do that for the final piece is starting to change a little bit. And that's the fun part about being an artist, is your work doesn't, at least it shouldn't stay the same and stagnated. You should constantly try to evolve and learn and grow. I was actually just talking about this on my my newsletter last week about how easy it is to stagnate. And I don't want to call anyone out, but I've seen some fellow YouTube artists basically just like, oh, you're doing the exact same work now as you were doing 12 years ago. Like, come on, you gotta switch things up and keep playing with new ideas. So this is what I'm currently working on. Probably not this morning. I'm gonna be hanging out with a friend of mine who lives about an hour from here a little later today. So that leaves me a relatively shorter amount of time to paint this morning, which means I'm probably going to find some weird side project to work on. I've been cleaning up different things in the studio and starting some new base projects. I got this little hunk of wood that I threw some red oxide oil paint on a couple days ago and then clear coated. So I might do a little, like a mini thing on that, which would actually be really fun to play with this morning. Smearing around some oil paint on some other surfaces. So I got this thing, which probably is going to get another couple of coats because this is finally almost about dry. And then just this random gray piece, this was originally scrap from some other project. But since I got my my miter saw, I've been able to really kind of keep repurposing other things that I thought were scraps. Like, oh, just cut this whole side off and be fine. So yeah, lots of different projects here and there and there and here, and everything's really scatterbrained kind of right now. So I'm not too sure what I'm going to work on this morning. Even just sitting down and sketching for a few minutes is probably going to be in my best interest. This is a custom color that eventually I want to have Golden make for me, but I call it quinacridone oxide. It is a mixture of quinacridone magenta, and obviously it's a Liquitex one, but it's the same color, just regular opaque red oxide. So these two together in sort of like a 40-60 ratio gives me this beautiful, rich, mid-tone red. And going forward, I'm actually going to be replacing my cadmium red with this. Not because I don't like cadmium red, but more because I'm not using it as much anymore. And I'm really starting to like evolving my painting skills, evolving my color palette, which is something I've always done. If you go back, I don't know, 7-8 years to when I first was in this particular studio, that color palette was considerably different than what I'm using now. Even like 4 or 5 years ago, I was using a couple colors that I'm not using anymore. It's always shifting. It's always evolving. So I'm always hesitant to do videos. I'm like, these are the colors that I use on my my heavy body palette, and here they are. Because usually, almost every time after I finish making that video, something changes about that. It's like, yeah, I don't really like this color anymore. I'm gonna switch that up. But I've been using regular cadmium red medium for a really, really long time, and it is considerably different in terms of hue than my quin oxide mix. So it is a very different shift in painting it. I should just show you what these look like over here. So I've updated a couple of my color maps so far this year. The acrylic, my regular heavy body acrylic color map being this one. So this line is regular cadmium red. And then this supplemental one up here is the new one. This is my quinacridone oxide. So just comparing, the whole reason this is up here is once my cadmium red is gone, this is going to get moved and just taped over this whole line. But as you can see, it's a very, very different range of colors. The cadmium red has much more oranges. The earth tones are earthy. These earth tones are much darker and much more purple. And then when we move into the lighter colors and the metallics, you get again, it leans much closer to the you can't see it, but this line going down is the quin magenta pure. So it leans a lot more like those pinks in here, with just a touch more of that brown from the red oxide. Interestingly enough, the top line is transparent red oxide, but you can see that similarity, and the addition of the quin magenta into that gives me a much more interesting range of colors, at least in terms of like sort of I would say cleaner mixes, so to speak. Now, what you might be wondering is why would I do that and lose all these nice oranges? Well, because I'm starting to use this this Indian yellow orange or ISO Indolone yellow. I'm split currently because at the time Golden hadn't gotten their hands on this pigment yet, because I was still using the old Holland one, but it's the exact same color, and it's this wonderful bright orangish yellow color, and that really takes the supplemental out of, you know, like, so here, Cad Red and 150. No, 137, this one. So this mix, also this mix, so they're the same, is Cad Red and Cad Yellow mediums together. This, short of its opacity, is almost exactly the same as the pure, or not the pure, the red, hold on. This is the Indian Yellow, or ISO Indo Yellow pure. This is the Cad Yellow, Cad Red mix. But I'm getting a lot of those colors over here anyway, so just removing that, maybe even using a little more yellow to a little bit more red, I'm still going to be able to get into that color space without any, you know, major issues. And if I do have that problem, I've also really found that I love the open pearl orange, so I still definitely have access to sort of that bright, clean orange when I need it. But as far as like regular, more toned down colors and things that feel more natural, I'm definitely leaning much closer into this color space currently. All right, I should probably paint something now, but probably not for you guys. I think this vlog's been running long enough. This has just kind of been the update vlog this time around. Oh, probably something else I should mention with I'm going to get this back out for a minute, because this is a really cool thing I want to point out. So it's pretty easy to look at go zoom out a little more here. It might be nice. Something about a piece like this that is really easy to overlook is you might look at this and be like, all of these dark colors are black. They're not. They're green, because I'm mixing with complements. I'm always talking about this being a, you know, important tip. I mean, technically, this is sap green hue, and there is technically black in the mix, but that's a whole separate thing. But there is no black in the like pure like a Mars or an Ivy blue back in this. All of the darks you're getting this are coming out of complements, which is worth noting. So yeah, grab your complements. Greens versus reds, and does wonders. Makes it look black, but it's not.
Because you're black.
You are. He is.
Okay, that's going to be enough for me. Hopefully you guys found this little update about all the projects I'm working on inspiring. I would paint for you guys, but again, my time is super limited this morning. I really don't want to push things more than I need to, because I probably also want to try and get this video edited and uploaded before I leave the house in 4 hours. And the edit's probably going to take me at least an hour and a half. So, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to leave you guys to whatever projects you are doing today. This has been reminding you to keep on creating. Stay inspired. Hope this helped. Like, comment, all that jazz. And I'll see you guys next time. Nearly forgot. Sorry about this late edition. I did finish the colored pencil block thing. I finally got the bit. The holes aren't real even, so I won't show that for too long and drive you nuts, but it absolutely works. So now I have a colored pencil palette holder thing that I can do that for projects with. So yay!